Hello, everyone. Welcome to the New Year special of FootballShock's football agenda. We've got a lot in store today. We're going to do our own alternative award ceremony. We're going to nominate our own players and teams for certain awards. I'm going to read them out now just so you know what we're getting into. First of all, we're going to have Flop of the Year. Secondly, we're going to have Embarrassing Moment of the Year. Third, we're going to have Worst Team of the Year. Fourth, Clown of the Year. And fifth, Shocking Moment of the Year. So, Kieran, do you want to quickly tell us why you chose these ones? Is there anyone in the...
Well, no, just these are the alternative awards. These are the ones that obviously won't be done in any official award ceremony for obvious reasons. But yeah, alternative awards. We're going to highlight some people that we think have had shocking years, some just clowns in football, and we're going to highlight a few flops as well. So it's going to be interesting.
And with Shay and Bradley not joining us once again, I think there are going to be a fair few Arsenal nominations as well.
You can say that.
Let's hit the ground running with Flop of the Year.
Whoa, John. Before we get into that, you know what I've got to say about a story that has developed over the last 24 hours that has really pissed me off because obviously it involves my club. Last night, Leeds won 5-0. It was a great result, but that's not being talked about. Karen Carney, the Prime pundit on Amazon, came out and said that Leeds only got promoted last year due to COVID.
She did not say only, mate.
No, she said...
She put that down as a reason she thinks that could have helped you.
I went back and watched it. She alluded to that being a key factor in why we got promoted. It's a bullshit opinion. It's nonsense. I just think it's an ill-researched opinion because we won 5 in a row without conceding a goal before we done that. I think it's disrespectful to the manager and the players. But aside from that, I disagree with that as a bullshit opinion. But the story that's developed is the Leeds official account clipped that 18-second clip of her saying that and said, and I've got it wrote down here, they said that what they said with a kind of thinking face emoji, and then underneath won the league by 10 points with like a smiley face. That was all they said. And that tweet has just blown up of people basically saying they're accusing the club of enabling abuse.
Kieran, I'm going to have to stop you there just for 1 second, but we do have a surprise visitor. We're going to enter now. Mr. Shay has decided to join us.
Oh, here we go. Of course, he pops up.
Big man Shay.
What's going on, Shay? How are you?
Showtime!
What's good? Shay, you're late and I was on a roll, so let me just carry on.
No one cares. You keep going.
Shut up. Enjoy being below us. As I said, that tweet has blown up. The club has been accused of enabling abuse. The club shouldn't target people, was another thing said. And they're trying to embarrass a hard-working pundit. Absolute nonsense. The people abusing her in the comments, 100% they're wrong. I'm not trying to say that. But the club has done nothing wrong by her giving an opinion and the club pointing out why that opinion is wrong. Those people abusing her would do that without the club doing anything. It's ridiculous. Pundits are open to criticism. They're well paid, I presume, to put their opinions out there. I'm not well paid. We do this for free. I put my opinions out there. They're strong opinions. They can be called ridiculous. People may disagree with me. That's fine. If people think I'm talking rubbish, tell me I'm talking rubbish. Argue with me. I like that. But these pundits, they have an opinion. If they're talking bollocks, people should say they're talking bollocks. And for the people getting offended by people saying you're talking bollocks, grow the fuck up. In fact, listen to this podcast and I will give you something to be offended about if you listen to me. Trust me. If you think Leeds are offensive, listen to me. It's absolute rubbish. The fact that she's a woman, it's got nothing to do with it. She's a pundit on TV and she's open to criticism. And her opinions last night were just absolutely stupid. They were ill-informed. They weren't researched well. And yeah, she deserves to be called out on them. I don't condone the abuse she's got. I think that's wrong. But Darren Bent said it's disgusting that they have done that, painting them as a target. The club hasn't painted her as a target. They've just highlighted something she said and said why it's wrong. There is nothing wrong with that. People need to grow up.
But it's like I was telling you, Cole, the club on their own particular page has signalled her out, that little clip that you've said, and basically, I agree with you, they're basically calling her out on her comment, But it shouldn't be the club that does that. Let the fans do that. Do you know what I mean? They can take the 18-second clip and they can call her out on it.
But the club done that with the Formula War. The club done that with Formula War a few weeks ago. So why didn't that get the level of attention this has got?
I put it this way. I still agree that it shouldn't be the case, though. Do you know what I mean? I still think the club shouldn't be doing that. Fair enough. Agbolahor hasn't got as much attention, probably because he isn't a woman. Let's be
exactly.
Honest about
That's the point I'm making. It's ridiculous.
But I think it does, by the club doing it, it does condone your fans to then go out and do it as well. If anything, the best way to have approached it would have been the manager in his next press conference. He's the one that comes out and says, well, I don't understand where she's, getting that opinion from, or, and he can explain some facts. We all know how Bielsa likes to get up a PowerPoint presentation.
I don't think Bielsa gives a fuck about what an Amazon Prime pundit says.
But that's my point. If he doesn't give a shit, why does the club? You got promoted by 10 points. Let it go. Do you know what I mean? If United responded to every negative thing said about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for instance, they wouldn't have anything else to talk about. Like it would just be.
That's why you're a big club. They're not.
But
it's rubbish. No, I just believe that if you're going to say something like that, you're open to criticism. It's not a case of
completely the case, but it shouldn't be your But it shouldn't be your club that leads the way to do into the argument.
Why not? It's about the club. Why not?
JD, I jump in, JD.
Because it shows unprofessionalism from your. I think it shows unprofessionalism.
I disagree, but Shay, you've got something to say.
First of all, I think I actually heard about it this afternoon because I was scrolling on Sky Sports. And first of all, her comments were wrong. First of all, the comments are a bunch of rubbish. Leeds won because of COVID, which is nonsense. They won the league by 10 points plus?
Yeah.
Even before COVID, Leeds were clearly the best team in that league. They were miles ahead. COVID had nothing to do with it. So that's a rubbish comment, first of all. Second of all, the club has every right to call her out on her nonsense. They were right. Yeah.
I agree with Shay for once. What ends of 2020?
Because, let me explain why. As a pundit, you put yourself in the public eye and you should be open to being criticized. If you can give an opinion, you should be able to take an opinion. And what she said was a bunch of rubbish. Yeah. Now, I don't agree with all the abuse that she got. Fair enough. Shouldn't have happened, etc. But Leeds United Football Club were right to come out and publicly criticize her. These pundits, they love to come out and chat absolute rubbish, just like Gabriel Bonglahor chats absolute rubbish. He's the worst pundit in this country, yeah? And when people bite back and say things back to him, they go and cry in the corner. Now,
exactly, they get offended. It's ridiculous. Like, I told people, if they want to get offended, they can come and listen to us. We'll offend them.
Absolutely. So, for me, she first of all, she was chatting rubbish anyway. And second of all, the club were right to criticize her. This is also my issue as well. Now, I'm not saying this has anything to do with her knowledge of football, but her comments show a lack of knowledge about football in certain regards. And I feel that, listen, I'm a fan of female pundits, I'm a fan of female, but I feel like she's there just to basically tick a box, unfortunately. A lot of them are, unfortunately. Now, being a female's got nothing to do with it, but I believe pundits should be, the best pundits should be put in the highest position. She isn't a great pundit, unfortunately. But listen, she's a nice girl, but she was wrong what she said. And Leeds were right to call her out. They were right. She was chatting rubbish.
He's right. And these pundits, I'm sorry, they go out and give an opinion in a professional capacity, James. Like you said, it's unprofessional in the club. These pundits are professionals. They're getting paid to do a job. If they can criticise the club, why can't the club turn back and criticise them?
Do it in a statement is my point. Don't do it on a flippant tweet. Do you know what I mean? That's clearly there to target her, and then all the fans get behind it. Do you know what I mean? Come out and say an actual statement as a club and say, well, we don't agree with this, why she come out and said this, if you're really going to be that offended by it as a club.
But James,
it's so petty. I think it's so petty of the club to react in the way that they have, like by doing it as a tweet.
But James, the fans would have criticized her regardless, basically.
But that's my point. If the fans are going to do it anyway, the club doesn't need to do it.
For me, it don't matter how the club does it. They did it, and it was the right thing to do. Whether they do it in a tweet or a statement, they were right. Do it in a tweet, put some emojis in there, let us all laugh and move on. But she was wrong. Absolute rubbish.
I think this is another classic example of James just being too nice. He is the nice one around here.
But then why has your club come out and I can't even remember the comment that you've officially come out with as a club to sort of say that you don't agree with the tweet effectively or something like that. That your own.
No. We backed the
beliefs.
tweet. We've just said we don't agree with the abuse she's got from
Okay, fair
like comments underneath it, which I agree with.
Yeah.
But yeah, John, I think we need to get into the awards.
I think it's about time, mate. Enough of this. We're lucky we've got an unlimited amount of Zoom minutes. Thank you. But we'll start. First of all, we're doing flop of the year. Now, that's a tough one. There's been a lot of them. I'm going to go out there first and say one that I don't know if many of you will have had yourself, but I think Harry Maguire. I think for the price tag, James, it's not. He has not lived up to it.
I don't agree with that one at all. I agree the price tag is ridiculous, but I wouldn't sit here and say he's been a terrible signing. I think our defense have massively improved, and he's a big part of that.
But if he was 20, even 40 million, you wouldn't call him a flop. But for that price tag, it wasn't worth the money, and that, in my eyes, is the flop. And also him being captain for so long when they had Fernandes on the team. He
was signed prior, I suppose. It's only like Fernandes is he's not even completed a full year at the club yet.
But he was signed in January and it's flop of the year. So it has been a whole year now. And yeah, that's my choice. I'm going to throw it out there. Got Harry Maguire.
I think that's it. I think Maguire is a really harsh one because I am of the opinion that Maguire hasn't actually been that bad. But because he plays for United, any mistake he does make gets blown up 10 times. I've always said that. I don't think Maguire's been that. I think that the price tag as well, it was a massive price tag. He's not worth that. And that's kind of hung heavy on him as well. But I don't think Maguire, you could say, is flop of the year. I don't think he's been horrific. I actually think in most games he looks solid for United. If he makes a mistake, it just gets blown up everywhere. My initial thought for flop of the year was Willian. But then they got him for free. He's on a lot of wages, but the fact he got him for free kind of counterbalanced that. So my nominee is Pepe. 70 million they signed this guy for. They've got him basically on tick. They're still playing for him. So he comes on, plays shit, and the French team they signed him from say, thank you, that's another 5 million. So they have to keep paying for his bullshit. He's been awful. His stats in his first season weren't good enough. And he's now in his second season, and he's been even worse. They've had 3 managers there which don't seem to trust him. They don't play him regularly, which to me tells you something. If it was one manager, you think, right, there's a personality clash or something. But they've had 3 who haven't trusted him. Every time I've seen him play, he gives away the ball more often than not. And I don't know what his wages are, but I assume if they spent 70 million on him, he's going to be on a fair amount of money. So yeah, for everything, for his performances, for his inconsistencies, for his absences, for the money they spent on him, my nominee for flop of the year is Arsenal's Pepe. And yeah, I can't see one that's been bigger than that, to be honest.
I mean, I've got a few here for my nominee of flop of the year. Pepe is one of them, but I'll just read out the few others, just because we did say we could go out of the league as well. Hazard is one for me at Real Madrid, just for the amount of money that was spent on him. He's been injured constantly, and he's not really done well over them. By the sounds of things, he seems to be overweight a lot of the time.
Turned up with a Cole Kelly body, didn't he?
And another one I think, which could be a little harsh on him, I think is Saliba at Arsenal. And I only say it's harsh because he hasn't really played, but when you spend 30 million on a centre back who hasn't even played, he's supposed to be, I think, he was ahead of Fofana at St. Etienne when they bought him, and yet Fofana's been bought a year later, and he's gone straight into the Leicester team, and he's absolutely bossing it. I don't know if I question, well, maybe Arsenal more than Saliba at that point. But I thought Drinkwater is another flop completely. I know he went to, I think it was like Villa on loan or something, but he was terrible there. I thought Moise Kean at Everton never really hit it. Man City and Angelino, they brought him back from loan to then have him for a year and then sell him again, and then he's absolutely bossing it at Leipzig again. And then these are kind of like, I think the 3 that I want to go for though is Joe Linton at Newcastle, Ndombele at Spurs.
Really? He's been performing quite well lately, Ndombele.
Lately, that's the thing. If we're going to go for a full year and the whole of last season, he did nothing really. Mm-hmm. And the last one is maybe a little harsh because I know he wasn't bought in last season's transfer window, but Kepa. The guy's had 2 bloody seasons at Chelsea. And if anything, he was even worse last year and was even more of a flop for me. So in that regard, I'm actually going to go for Kepa. Like the stats he was producing were so shocking it was unbelievable.
It's awful to think. I think he's the most expensive goalie ever.
Exactly.
And he was so bad, they had to get Petr Cech out of retirement. Like, think about that. It's just awful.
And I mean, I suppose we didn't put any sort of situation where we couldn't do a flop of the year, that was already at the club. So that's why I want to go Kepa. I just think the amount of times having a Chelsea fan next to me just get infuriated by him was so entertaining for me.
Shay, what are your thoughts? Flop of the year?
There's two names that I want to throw in there. First of all, Alexis Sanchez. Where the hell is that guy now? He's an Inter. I haven't heard of the guy. He's done nothing of note. Ever since he left Arsenal, I think United wasn't the right fit for him. He's been an absolute bum, basically. Unfortunately. Also, as well, someone else that I want to mention. Who is it? I was going to mention just now. Eden Hazard, which James mentioned. He's overweight. He's out of shape. He left his magic in West London at Stamford Bridge. Very, very poor. Also, as well, someone else who I feel hasn't performed is, unfortunately, hate to say it, Nicolas Pepe.
Yay! Some sense.
Pepe has turned out been absolute. There is a player in there, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see the best of him. He isn't the player that he was brought in to be. I mean, I don't think he's only a flop in the sense of his price tag. If Pepe cost 30 million, 40 million, he wouldn't be a flop, but because of his price tag, he is. But I never expected this guy to be a miracle worker, to be honest. So for me, personally, he's not a flop, but in the grand scheme of things, based on his price tag and who he plays for, he is a flop, basically. And also, someone else who I think is a flop, he's not a flop, but I don't think we're getting the best out of him. No, I mean, just generally in his team. João Felix looks a little bit frustrated right now at Atletico. They are a great club, but when you're a young, promising attacking player, Diego Simeone may not be the best coach that you want to play with, basically. So for me, those are my flops. And also, as a one last person, Thiago Silva. Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
He has joined Chelsea and he's looked really solid.
They are no better with him at the back than they were before. They are no better at the back with him. No better. Sorry.
I think I've got to disagree with you completely on that one, Shay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on the rest of them. For me, it's Pepe. I get James' argument for Kepa. But yeah, I'm still going to stick with Pepe. Every time he gets the ball, he looks like a donkey with 3 legs running with it. He always gives it away. There's no quality in the final third. I mean, I don't know how the hell they convinced Arsenal to pay 70 million. And the funny thing is, they've got to keep paying for him. Like I said, they've got him on tick.
Yeah. Do you know what? If we're talking about a flop from the amount of hype that they received as well, then surely Gareth Bale's got to be another option. He hasn't done anything of note so far. I think he's had a goal in the Premier League, a goal in the FA Cup.
I get that, but he's on loan. And for me, when he has come on, he's not the older Bale of old, but for me, he's still a threat. So I don't think you can give him flop of the year.
And also as well, William Saliba hasn't played. So for me, there is a jury out on Saliba. I don't think he's that good. I haven't seen him play, never in my life. Before we signed him, I had no idea who he was. The jury's still out on Saliba, but I do feel he may. I feel the Premier League is not for him, but he hasn't played yet, so the jury's still out on Saliba.
That's what I mean. I felt like I was being a bit harsh on that one just because I haven't seen him play, but that was partly why I was thinking he could be a flop.
So guys, what are we saying then? Is it Arsenal's Pepe is our official flop of the year?
I think
I would say
we've all sort of mentioned him, so I think we've got to. Yeah.
Unfortunately, right now.
Well, congratulations, Pepe. More prestigious than the FA Cup, I'm sure. Next, guys, we have the embarrassing moment of the year. Now, let's try and stick it to 2 nominees each, all right? Because otherwise you'll be going on for hours. I'm going to start with a match only a couple months back. And yeah, they might have changed their form since, but Liverpool losing 7-2 to Aston Villa, who were prime relegation targets last season. At the time, we didn't realise they'd really turned it around, but Liverpool losing by that margin as champions, it was just an embarrassing moment.
Yeah,
I mean, can't really disagree with that one. really. I mean, the thing is, like we were saying before, my embarrassing moments and my shocking moments are kind of overlapping a bit, and that's one of my nominees for shocking, literally for the exact reasons you said. Prime targets to go down last year technically should have, if you include that goal line technology goal that wasn't given in the end. They would have drawn that game, lost 2 points, and actually would have got relegated. So you're thinking that about Aston Villa, and they go and smash the champions, who didn't even, barely dropped a point last year, and they beat them 7-2. It was just came out of nowhere. It was mental.
To be honest, I actually forgot about that. But it was embarrassing, but obviously because it's their only loss this season, I think that kind of outweighs it. I think that was just a one-off. I'd actually put that more as shocking. But my embarrassing, the main one for me is Arsenal losing to Burnley at home. For me, that was an absolute joke. I said before, Arsenal were in a bad run of form, but I expected them to bounce back against Burnley. Losing 1-0 to Burnley at home, who have never beaten Arsenal before that game, who Arsenal actually had fans for that game as well. It was their first game at the Emirates in 9 months that fans were allowed in, and they came, saw them get beat by Burnley, and then went back into lockdown. And then the fact that Aubameyang scored the own goal as well in the only goal of the game. It was just a calamitous night for Arsenal. I'm still laughing about it. I'm sure everyone else is too. That for me was the most embarrassing result of the season, but I cannot end my discussion here without mentioning Leeds Man U.
I'm so glad you said that.
That was in mine.
We are getting to that. Don't worry, we're going to get to that. Go on.
Well, unfortunately, Shay, we don't have time to get into it.
Yes, we do.
I'm going to nominate it because I have never been more embarrassed in my life. Just so many aspects. I said in the special before that game to James that ultimately United are better than us. I never disputed that. I was just kind of hoping that a derby game is going to be tight, but the fact is we lost inside 3 minutes, and not even that. The fact that if it was Fernandes who scored the first 2 goals, I'd kind of it was fucking McTominay who scored the first 2 goals.
They were good goals as well.
Make it even more embarrassing. We've bounced back since then. Those kind of results are going to happen with the stuff that we play, but the fact it was Man United who did it to us, and the manner of how they fucking won the game in 3 minutes, it's embarrassing. And that has to be nominated as well, unfortunately.
You waited 16 years for that, mate.
Yeah,
you waited 16 years for that.
They get slapped.
The only thing I could say is, like I said at the start of the season, I did say those results will happen because the fact is, Leeds, they're starting to play. We go man for man. And if man for man we're better than the team we're playing, like last night, we will rip them apart.
Are you guys hearing this? Are you actually hearing this? This is coming from do you know what? I'm going to nominate you, Kieran, for the most embarrassing moment. That's your reaction. Is your reaction to the loss? You said that you should play your under 23s for the next couple games.
Yes, I still stand by that because the fact I'm saying it was that embarrassing.
Would you have won 5-0 if you played would you have won 5-0 if you played the under 23s?
Well, I still think we would have won, to be honest, because West Brom gave us a goal within 9 minutes. That's actually another embarrassing moment. Saw his own goal from last night. But, I said at the start of the season that our style of play, we go man for man. So if we're better than man for man, we're better than who we're playing. We'll rip teams apart like last night. But if man for man, we're not as good, like with United, I said that to James before, man for man, they're better than us. We can get ripped apart as well. But I accepted that for the start of the season, but the fact it was Man U that did it to us was just the fact that it really hurt. So, unfortunately, I can't not nominate it.
Two games stand out. First of all, the first one is obviously the actual slapathon at Old Trafford, seeing these bums get mauled. I will read out a quote from Colt. I can't wait for Bielsa to teach his PE teacher a lesson. Yeah? He got slapped. Yeah? The most influential manager in world football got slapped by the PE teacher. Embarrassing. 16 years to get slapped. And then the season.
Also, Shay, sorry. I just do want to say though, I do not blame Bielsa for that because the fact is, with all the shots we had, we could have easily have scored 6 as well. But the fact is, the players aren't talented enough to be that clinical, and that's why.
So what did he change then? So as the manager, he's meant to change it. What did he change during that game to offset the balance. He didn't change anything.
No, he actually went more for United.
And got slapped. So fair enough. You know? But no, I mean, honestly, that was music to my ears. I wasn't surprised. Man United are everything that you guys want to be. A big club with trophies to match it. You guys don't have the honours to match it. So happy with that. The second game was Barcelona 2, Bayern Munich 8.
Yeah, that was going to be my one. Yeah.
It couldn't have happened to a nicer club. And you know why? Barcelona, over the last few years, they have been one of the most arrogant clubs on the planet. The way they tried to tap up players.
The Braithwaite deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, some of the most scummiest things I've seen in football have been done by them. So for them to get slapped in a Champions League quarter-final, and then to have Philippe Coutinho, a player on loan from Barcelona, score 2 goals. Against, you couldn't write that script. And yeah, it was just absolutely brilliant to watch. Bayern were brilliant. Bayern were absolutely brilliant on the day, but I had Barcelona to get slapped 3-0, but I didn't think they would concede 8. But they were woeful, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, that's my nomination as well. Barcelona 2, Bayern 8. I mean, and actually, I completely forgot about that, Shay. But like you're saying, with the Coutinho scoring the 2 goals, I remember hearing something about in his contract apparently that if he wins the Champions League, they had to pay him like an extra, I don't know, let's just say 5 mil.
Pay Liverpool more money.
That was it. Yeah, so they had to pay Liverpool more money for him to win a Champions League that wasn't even with them. I mean, God, that's just, I mean, that's embarrassing in itself, isn't it? That might actually be the most embarrassing moment. I mean, I'm not like you guys. You don't like Barcelona that much. I know Colt, you don't. I know Shay doesn't. Not sure if you mind them, John.
Neutral things.
Yeah, but I quite like them. And to be honest, it's Bayern who I don't like too much. I think they're an arrogant team. And that was a mauling. I just remember watching it going like, just shut up shop. Do you know what I mean? When it was like 5, whatever, like 5-2 or something, just defend for the rest of the game. Just don't make it any worse. And it just got so embarrassing. And like you're saying, in a Champions League quarter-final of all games, it's most embarrassing moment in the whole year for me. There was no hiding for those players. Everyone in the world would have been watching that game if you're a football fan.
So just to confirm then,
I think
guys,
we have to give it to that Bayern
well,
Barca.
the
Really,
shortlist is from 2 votes each. It was Liverpool losing to Aston Villa, Leeds losing to Man United, and Barcelona losing to Bayern. So are we saying Barcelona are the embarrassing team of the year?
Well, embarrassing moment of the year has got.
I'm going for that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was the day Messi realised that, holy shit, I need to jump off this shit, man. Get the hell out of here. Because you know?
Yeah, good choice. All right, then. Moving on, guys. We're doing number 3 award is the worst team of the year. Now, is there any other than Sheffield United, really?
You can't. Yeah, Sheffield United, for me, have been absolutely dire. If you think, even before this new season started, post the lockdown in spring, they've been awful. Towards the end of last season, after lockdown, they completely tailed away. So therefore, they haven't really been in any decent form since March. They've just been shocking. They've got 2 points from 16 games this season. They're on track to be the worst Premier League team ever. And for me, it couldn't have happened to a nicer club. It really couldn't. They got promoted by accident. I've always said that. I still believe that season, they only got promoted because of the amount of injuries Leeds got. That's my opinion. I really do. Wilder came up and he had a bit of success with the tactics he used. I think they caught a lot of teams in the Premier League off guard. But as soon as teams work that out, they've been shit. They can't score goals. And now they're conceding goals as well, which was kind of why they got to where they were in the first place. Teams worked them out. And as soon as they have worked them out, you're realising what level they're actually at. And that is, in my opinion, a mid-table championship team. That is what they have there. So for me, I can't even be asked to nominate anyone else because for me, I can't see anyone being worse than them this year. They've been awful.
Well, I had 2 nominees. One of them is Sheffield United, pretty much for all the same reasons you've said there, Colt. The only reason I'm sort of debating this is because Sheffield United had such a good first season, which took everyone by surprise, but the second season's been absolutely shocking. And the reason why I debate it with my second team, which is Arsenal, and I'm not even trying to get at like Shay or Brad's or anyone like that, but it's the only reason I'm like debating it is because they won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
But if you look at their last season, it was bloody awful, really. For the size of the club and the stature that they are, they should not have finished 8th. And then this season, they've been floating around 15th at, Christmas time. That's terrible. That's absolutely shocking. Which is why, like I said, I'm trying to sort of like juggle the two in my hands and just decide which one. And I think I'm going to have to go Sheffield as well, just because, 2 points at this stage of the season it's just so poor. But then, I don't know, but then they were so good last year. Everyone was loving, what they were doing. Whereas Arsenal, I think for 2 seasons now, I've just been like, God, they've been terrible. but I'm going to go Sheffield because they can't hit a barn door at the moment.
That's a good point, though. Last year it was such a mitigating factor, them performing far above anyone's expectations. But yeah, that was then, and this is now. So I think it's pretty much unanimous, unless Shay's got any other thoughts.
I have a team, and this team has been absolutely woeful. Basically, they are woeful. I respect them as a club, but they are woeful, and that is Celtic Football Club. Yeah. Celtic Football Club are in a 2-team league and are currently 16 behind rookie manager Steven Gerrard, basically. Yeah. Celtic have been knocked out of the qualifying rounds of the Champions League for the last 3 to 4 years. And this year they got knocked out by Ferner. I can't even pronounce that team. Some bums from Hungary, basically. Yeah. Celtic also as well, they basically currently... They're calling for their manager's head, even though they're second in their league. But this is the easiest league in the world to win. So for me, Celtic are getting smacked up by a rookie manager with a club that apparently only was reformed, 5 years ago? So for me, Celtic Football Club and Sheffield United. I like Chris Wilder. I think he's a nice guy. But I think this league is unfortunately too big for him. And they are going down. But credit to Sheffield United for actually keeping Wilder in charge. They haven't sacked him, so credit to them for that. But Sheffield United and Celtic, woeful.
The only problem with the Celtic nomination, Shay, is they play in a pub league, and we don't really discuss pub leagues here on Football Shock. We try and stick to real football. So I can't really talk about Celtic because they're about 5 levels below the level we talk about.
All right, guys, I think it's fair to say then the worst team of 2020 is Sheffield United. Congratulations.
What a shame.
Still a good team in Yorkshire, but we'll see.
At least.
All right, guys, next we have the clown of the year. So I'm going to start by saying Watford's owners going through 4 managers in a calendar year. That's just ridiculous. And yeah, what a clown. How can you do that? Especially with Pearson in charge for a while, and he was actually doing all right for them. And then he goes, they get relegated, and good riddance.
That's a good point. I actually hadn't thought about them. My 2 follow on from the Sheffield United feeling, Chris Wilder, purely because this clown, when they got promoted, they called Leeds Muppets. He called specifically Patrick Bamford a Muppet. Fast forward 18 months and Bamford is scoring the winner against them in the Premier League, and they sit on 2 points after saying that. So for me, for the comments he made and for how poor he's been this season, he has got to be nominated. But my other nomination, follow on from John's example of owners, is the West Brom owners for Clown of the Year. Slaven Bilic got them to the Premier League a season early. For me, yes, they look relegation candidates, but they're always going to look relegation candidates. But they sacked him after a hard-fought draw at Man City. They brought in Sam Allardyce with the sole remit of shoring up the defence and trying to keep them up. And I think in his second or third game, he's been absolutely whacked by Bielsa and Leeds. So just the irony of saying, yeah, we're going to bring in a manager to stave off relegation and shore up the defence, and then getting slapped by a team that also got promoted alongside them is just so ironic and funny in my eyes. So yeah, Clowns of the Year, I would say the West Brom board.
Yeah, I mean, my 2 nominations were same as John there with the Watford owners and going through the managers. I think it's absolutely stupid. Nigel Pearson being the big one. I remember he came in, like we were saying, he did a good job, or he's doing a good job, and suddenly he gets booted out the club, and you're just thinking there must have been some politics behind that. I don't know, or some disagreement with the owners where they basically just weren't having it and kicked him out, because I can't understand why that one happened. So that's definitely one, because you can't go through 4 managers within a year and expect to do well. It's just it's baffling. And the other one is more clowns of the year, but it's the Millwall fans booing the players taking the knee. I thought that was absolutely disgusting and stupid. I mean, you've waited all this time to go back into a stadium to boo players taking the knee. I mean, are you having a laugh? It just screams of, I don't know, just like idiocy and ignorance to me. Like, fair enough, you might not agree with the movement. I completely can understand that. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But does it really bother you that much to, boo the players? Just let it happen. It only takes 10 bloody seconds. Do you know what I mean? It's like people that go to the supermarket right now and don't put a bloody mask on. Is it really going to kill you to put a mask on for 15 minutes of your life? Tops, do you know what I mean? Or like half an hour. It just does my head in. And I thought that was, I just thought it was a perfect example of Millwall fans being Millwall fans and why everyone pretty much doesn't seem to like them.
Oh, but see, that's my only issue with this, because I agree, but I think it's a few stupid fans painting the rest of the club in a very bad light. I mean, Millwall, I don't know why, but they won Family Team of the Year.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. And it's like, what has changed in that club? I don't know, but I actually kind of started liking them, and then their fans go and do this, and I just hope that it's not throughout the whole club.
Yeah, I agree. I hope it's only a few fans that have ruined it for the rest of them. I'll agree with you on that. But I would still put that down as a clown moment for me.
Over to the Shay man.
And Shay needs to nominate some clowns of the year, and you just know he's going to have a few.
The first person, he's not a clown in the sense where he's bad. He's bad football. He's a great footballer. I'm a huge fan of him. But he's a clown because of his lack of common sense and lack of actions outside. There's 2 of them outside of their job. One is Jack Grealish and the other one is Kyle Walker. But blatantly breaking COVID rules over and over and over again. Jack Grealish, why are you crashing your Range Rover during lockdowns? What
Have you seen the video of that? Has anyone seen the video of him crashing his car?
It just made no sense. Like,
he couldn't have hit more cars if he tried to hit cars. It was ridiculous. And then you saw him when at court. He sent like a dummy Range Rover to distract the press, and then walk to the court behind them.
I mean, those 2 for me are the first, the first clowns, pretty much. The next clown for me is, and I like this guy, even though he's basically associated with his football club, Frank Lampard. Frank is a clown. You know why he's a clown? He spent 250 million and doesn't know his best team. He has Havertz and Werner struggling for form in a team where they should be banging in goals. Frank Lampard is a clown for that. He's a nice guy, but he's a clown in that regard. And the last clown that I want to nominate is football pundits. Football pundits. Not all of them. Some of them are very good. Gary Neville's a great pundit. Some of them are very, very good. But my issue with football pundits is a lot of them can't leave their bias aside. Gabriel Bonglahor, what are you talking about? His comments about Leeds were absolutely just, I mean, for him to make those comments and then Leeds to smack Villa that the following day was just, it was hilarious. It was hilarious, yeah. Even some of these Arsenal pundits, Thierry, not Henry, Ian Wright, all these guys, start telling the truth. Unfortunately, Arteta hasn't been good enough at this point in the season. Start telling the truth. All I want is pundits to be open and honest. And Gary Neville is a prime example of doing that. He will criticise the Glazers to a T. Will he criticise Ollie? Maybe not as much. But pundits, please be honest. They're clowns. So that's it for me.
I agree, Shay, as well, in terms of pundits, because the amount of rubbish they talk. When Leeds lost 6-2 to United the other week, I don't need to tell you how angry I was about it. And you've got pundits praising Leeds. And I was like, Gary Neville, who in my opinion, is a good pundit, but he was saying Leeds should be giving themselves a pat on the back. I'm sorry, if you conceded 6 goals, Gary, would you be giving yourself a pat on the back, you absolute clown? You're getting paid a lot of money for these opinions, and some of them are just absolute rubbish. For me, the best pundit on TV is Roy Keane. I think he's hilarious. For entertainment value, he is absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I agree with Shay. Some of these pundits really need to take a long, hard look at themselves because some of their opinions are just absolute rubbish. Karen Carney, cough.
So the shortlist for Clown of the Year is as follows. We've got the Watford and West Brom owners. We've got Chris Wilder. We've got Millwall fans booing Black Lives Matter. We've got Jack Grealish, Kyle Walker, Frank Lampard, and football pundits minus Gary Neville.
No, including Gary Neville.
Who's it going to be? I'm going to put out there my top 3, right? It's got to be the Watford owners, Millwall fans, and I guess Jack Grealish. Yeah,
I was going to say that's my top 3 as well. It just Grealish has had his moments this year. As great a player as he's been a bit ridiculous and caught in the press a few times. But I'll go as my number 1, the Watford owners.
My number 1 would be Watford owners as well.
Yes, my number 1 would be Watford owners. Sacking 3 managers and still getting relegated is just hilarious. So yeah.
I'm not going to let my bias get in the way at all, guys, but I am going to go for the Watford owners.
Clean sweep.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, brilliant. Well, Clown of the Year, that is their first trophy in ever. That is the Watford owners. Well done. So, moving on, guys, to the 5th and final trophy that we're going to award. It is the shocking moment of the year.
The prestigious trophy. FootballShock, shocking moment of the year.
Now, guys, I want to start by saying, for mine, it's mainly about the hype that surrounded it, only for it to not even happen. It was Messi leaving Barcelona. It was shocking that he came out and said it. Everyone was saying, oh, he's going to go City, he's going to go PSG, he's going to go there.
Going to go Leeds.
Such a hype. And then he stayed for another year. It's like, well, it was shocking, but it was anticlimactic, and that's football all over this season for me.
For me, mine was actually by the Bayern-Barca result. We've given that the most embarrassing moment of the year. Liverpool, Villa. We've mentioned it already, but I have to nominate that for shocking moment, just because no one would have predicted that coming. No one would have seen even Villa winning that game, let alone winning 7-2. I remember just watching the goals going in and just thinking, what on earth? So I think that was the same day that Spurs beat United 6-1 as well. So it was just a crazy, crazy day of football. But also, mine is very recent. My second one is Sawyer's own goal from last night. If any of you haven't seen it, go and see it. This guy, he gets the ball about 20 yards out and he goes to back pass it to his goalie, but he doesn't look where the goalie is. You wouldn't see this in Sunday League football. It is that bad. He doesn't even look where the goalie is, and he passes it 20 yards back. So even if the goalie was where he was supposed to be, he has no idea who's running in behind to try and intercept the ball because he doesn't look. And the goalie is about 10 yards wide of where the ball goes to, and the ball just kind of trickles into the net. And I was watching, I'm thinking, this is going in. This is happening. This is actually yet 1-0 up. And I couldn't even celebrate because I just found it that funny. Like, I was just laughing. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, shocking moment of the year. My second nominee would be Sawyer's own goal for just a Sunday League error in a Premiership match.
I mean, my shocking moments that I put down, Barca Bayern was one of them, but like I said, we've already included that. Aston Villa Liverpool was the other one. But then the 2 other ones I've written down were, and I think we might mention this one a bit earlier as well, was Leicester Southampton 9-0. I mean, I suppose that might class as
2019.
last year, but within the season, still last year's season. I mean, that one just came out of absolutely nowhere. And what's been, I suppose, shocking as a result of that is actually how well Southampton have sort of done since. So there's sort of like 2 parts to it. And the other one, which I mentioned to you 2 boys before Shay actually joined on the phone call, is actually Arsenal winning the FA Cup. And it's simply because they were so bad for me last season. Like, I just didn't expect it. Even though Arsenal, which I know I probably should have sat back, always seem to do well in the FA Cup, which is why they've won it more than anyone else. I just didn't expect it. I thought, nah, this is that one season they're beyond out of their depth. You know, City are a much better team. Chelsea, I thought, were a better team, and somehow they pulled it out of the bag and ended up winning it. So those are my nominations.
For me, there's two moments. Well, actually, no, there's one actually. The main one for me, the shocking moment of the year, and you couldn't have writ this, by the way, because no one's mentioned this, but Raheem Sterling's open goal miss against Leon for them to go down the other end and score. The Champions League. Like, you couldn't have made that up. Literally, I'm guessing a load of City fans would have been happy to play Leon. Oh, it's Leon, no, easy draw. For them to go and play Leon, literally, for them to be the favourites, for them to be in the game, them to get the chance to win it, miss the open goal, Leon to go down the other end, score and knock them out is absolute. That is football classic. That is quality. That is amazing. So that is my first moment, basically. Period. My second moment for me personally is I probably say Atletico Madrid knocking Liverpool out of that Champions League. For them to soak up all that pressure for 90 minutes, take them to extra time, and then beat them in extra time and knock them out at Anfield, for me was another. For me, it's shocking, as they say, because Liverpool were the defending champions, but it was shocking in the sense that for them to be able to withstand that for that prolonged period of time and win at Anfield as well. So that's my two moments. I would have said the FA Cup win, the schooling at Wembley, the schooling of Pep, but I did expect that. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Those are my two moments.
For me, it will be Liverpool Villa still. I think that's the most shocking result of the year.
That's the one I was
still can't believe that happened.
I would have expected a Jurgen Klopp team who are champions to get slapped like that by Dean Smith and John Terry. So credit to Smithy and JT. So that's my moment.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's unanimous then. Shocking moment of the year. Football Shock Award goes to Liverpool losing 2-7 to Aston Villa.
Biggest Liverpool title of the year, that, isn't it?
And that's that. All right. Well, thanks for listening to our award ceremony, and it's been great doing the podcast with you all. Can't wait to start again next year. Shall we quickly do some predictions for the next games?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Leeds have got Spurs on Saturday. Early kickoff on Saturday.
Chelsea, Man City.
I'm going to say I'm not confident with this game whatsoever. This is the game I've actually been dreading because we suit Spurs' style so much in the sense that Spurs like to sit back, soak up pressure, and they're just deadly on the counter-attack. So I ripped this game off, if I'm honest, a few weeks ago. But we beat the teams that we need to beat, Burnley and West Brom. So we're 11th. We're in quite a comfortable position. So I think we can afford to lose this game anyway. But yeah, not looking forward to this at all. I think Son in particular is going to have a field day because we leave so much space running in behind. He's going to love it. So the only thing I would say is hopefully Mourinho does Mourinho and just gets a couple and then just doesn't try and attack anymore. I'm going to go 3-1 to Spurs. I can't really see us winning this.
No, we spoke about this yesterday, Kieran, and I pretty much echoed your thoughts. I reckon it'll be a 2-0 win to Spurs for exactly the same reasons you've just mentioned.
Yeah, I'm going to go same result, 2-0. Pretty much exactly what you're saying. I reckon they'll soak up your pressure and kill you on the counter.
They're better than us. So I can't sit here and argue that. They're better than us. But like I said before, they're not a team we're going to be competing with. We beat West Brom and Burnley, which were the important wins for us. So I'll be content if we lose, to be honest.
I think Spurs will beat Leeds pretty comfortably. I think they'll beat them 2-1. But I think Spurs will go 2-0 up and Leeds will score a late goal, maybe try and challenge them at the end. But yeah, no, Spurs will beat them comfortably.
Cool. All right. Next game on the agenda is going to be 1st of January as well. Man United versus Aston Villa. Tricky one. There should be a lot of goals in it, I would have thought.
Hard to say this one, just because United have got 4 points from 2 games that I thought minimum we needed to get 4 points from against Leicester and Wolves. And Leicester, I thought we were the better team, only marginally. I thought it was a pretty even game. And then Wolves last night, I thought we were absolutely terrible, actually. And, got a lucky win, lucky goal already right at the end of it. So our forms, which is pretty much what I've been saying all this year, very inconsistent. And then Villa, I don't know, Villa themselves, I feel a bit inconsistent at times. But they have been holding on to a lot of clean sheets lately. So I think they're going to be hard to break down. But I'm going to say we've got enough firepower in there. I'm going to go 2-1 United.
Yeah, I think Villa, for me, they've surprised a lot of people of how good they've been this year. I think it's not just been a lucky run either. You can see they've got some real substance there. Grealish, Watkins, players like that who can really hurt teams. But United just seem to have a knack of winning games at the minute, which is annoying to say because that is a mark of a title challenger. And the game against Wolves last night proved that with a late winner. And what was even more named is a deflected winner as well. It was such a lucky goal. It was just typical United of old, really. So I think United will nick it. And I'm going to go 2-1 to United, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go for a Villa win this time. I reckon they'll nick a couple goals. Sorry, James. I think I'm going to say 2-1 to Villa. And yeah, as Kieran said, Grealish and Watkins do make the difference here. 2-1.
I believe that this game will be very tough. Both teams will go for it. This is a proper whoever grabs the ball by the horns can win this game. And you know what? Man United, for me, currently are title challengers. They are title challengers. We have to admit it. Ollie is doing a very good job right now with Man United. I think it will be a very tough game, but I think it will be Man United 3, Villa 2.
Cool. All right. Next on the list, we've got Arsenal against West Brom.
Relegation battle.
What a good game that would be.
You know what? This is a very interesting one, because Arsenal, they've won the last couple of games, but the Brighton game yesterday, the 1-0, for me, from what I read, my brother watched the game. He said they weren't convincing, and from what I've read, they weren't. But they got the win, so fair enough to them. That's what you're there for at the end of the day. But yeah, from what I've heard, they weren't convincing. It wasn't a really good performance. And yeah, Arsenal for me is still very shaky. And the thing is with West Brom, Allardyce will not accept what happened the other day. He will not accept that. And I think they will be very solid when they play Arsenal because an Allardyce team won't concede that many goals back to back. So I think they'll be quite solid, and I think they'll try and get a draw out the game. So with Arsenal's lack of goal scoring this year, I actually think this is going to be a 0-0.
I mean, I've got a funny feeling about this game, and don't tell me why, but I think Arsenal are going to win 3-0. I think West Brom, whenever I've watched them this year, I don't know, maybe I've just sort of picked the wrong moments to watch them because I know that they picked up a few decent results here and there, but they've just been poor. They haven't created much for me. And I just have a funny feeling Arsenal, because of this few results that they've got, or these couple of results that they got, might actually be feeling themselves a bit now. And I think that might just be all that's needed in this Arsenal team, is to get a bit of confidence back into it. And players like Aubameyang, because of the team feeling confident, he'll just get confident himself, and he'll find the back of the net. And I think that might just be enough to see them over in this game. And I think, like I said, 3-0. Don't really know why, but I think that's what I'm going to go for.
I mean, we say that West Brom have been so poor this season as well, but they've been nicking draws here and there. I mean, even in December alone, it was a 1-1 draw against Liverpool, 1-1 draw against Man City. And I mean, in the Man City game, they performed very, very well, and then sacked their manager right after. But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw for them reasons. Shay, are you feeling confident about this match?
We should beat this team, but I'm not confident because we always make teams look like a prime Barcelona. So I'm not fully confident, but we should win at the Hawthorns. If we don't win this game, unfortunately, I just don't know where to go from here. So I feel we will beat them. But to be honest, Chelsea went there and they gave Chelsea a fight, man. They gave Chelsea an absolute fight there. So it's not going to be easy. But I believe it will be West Brom 1, because we don't keep clean sheets very rarely. West Brom 1, Arsenal 2.
let's round it off then with the big boys, Chelsea, Man City.
There's only one winner for that, and that's Man City. Frank Lampard is basically the blind, leading the blind. The guy's clueless. He's a nice guy, but the job is too big for him. Chelsea have one win in their last 5 games. They got slapped by us. You know, Colt spent the whole summer talking about, they spent £250 million. They bought Ziyech, Werner, and got slapped by Arteta. Yeah. So for me, Lampard is a man in trouble. So I will go with Chelsea 0, Man City 2.
Yeah, I do think City are better than Chelsea. I think the players have brought in a good Lampard. For me, he actually shored up the defence, and then they've just had a run lately where they've been quite shocking. I mean, losing to Arsenal is just embarrassing, to be honest. But yeah, I do think City will have too much for them, and I'm going to go with a 3-1 City win.
Yeah, I completely reiterate. Exactly the same scoreline, exactly the same feelings. I'm going to go 3-1 City.
It's very likely, yeah. City will get a few goals. Chelsea might. I'm going to say 3-2, just because I think Chelsea's attack. I reckon they'll hit the ground running when it comes to the bigger teams. But yeah, I guess that's it for us, guys. So we'll reconvene next week and go from there. Next year, yeah.
Hopefully, and I do want to say 2021. Hopefully, we can get fans back in grounds to full capacity, because I, for one, fucking miss it. I haven't been to Ellen Road since Boxing Day last year. I was supposed to go March to see us play Luton, and it was literally just after. It was just before. It was supposed to be the 17th, so it was literally a few days before the football got called off. So I just hope we get back to full capacity, because I miss it and I want to see Leeds play in the Premier League.
All right. Well, take it easy then, guys.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah. See you later.
Happy New Year.
Take care. See you soon.